true life, and music history. The Ants Human Stars podcast with your hosts, Caleb and Digo. Are you ready? Steady. Go.
My piece is about the infamous, the one and only Marvin Gaye, with an E, by the way. This is important.
You didn't know that? Cute little story. I remember my cousin. He was like, he had to have been like, I don't know, 14 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bunch of my little cousins. I took them all out to like go see a movie, and a song came on and it was Marvin Gaye, and I was like, oh, that's Marvin Gaye. And he's like jamming on something, and then he just like, he gets silent, and he's sitting in the passenger seat and looks over at me, he was like, was he really gay? Like in all seriousness, I was just like, no, it's okay. He was not really gay. That's just his last name.
But he did add that E himself. That is not a family name. Correct family name. So
so Gay without the E is the family name.
So our Marvin here. Ready? Steady.
Go.
Born in 1939, way back in the day. He'd be old as shit if he's still alive, so good that he's dead. He was born in Washington, D.C.
Really?
Open the door. 1939, okay. Washington, D.C. as Marvin Gaye with just a G-A-Y. But no, he was not actually gay, I guess. Who knows? He's known as Prince of Soul and began his career singing in his father's church before rising in stardom and producing several hits, including Let's Get It On, Sexual Healing, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Gonna Be Mine.
I only know the Gladys Knight version.
Okay. Let's start.
He did Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
He did a lot.
Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Gaye was raised under the strict control of his father, Reverend Marvin Gaye Sr. So remember when I was telling you when I was writing these notes, like I had to go back and like clarify, is it Marvin Gaye or is it Marvin Gaye Sr.? Because gotcha. and even when I be reading a sentence and I see that they incorrectly put the E or they didn't put it was just messed up all over the place. So
real messy.
If I screw up, it's because this is just the messy article. Messy articles all around. Reverend Marvin Gaye Sr. So on one of his father's first missions as a preacher, it was at a church in Norriston, Pennsylvania. Gaye Sr. impressed the congregation and the church made him a bishop. According to Marvin Jr., his father was known as a healer. Gaye Sr. eventually settled as a minister of a local House of God church in Washington, D.C. And
right here.
Yeah, right here. And when his son was around 4 or 5, he brought him to his church, and he brought him to church congregation and revivals, and he brought him to sing for the audience. According to Marvin Jr.'s relatives, Gaye Sr. coached him on piano lessons, which Marvin Jr. learned by ear. And this, unfortunately, was one of the very few stable times in the father and son relationship. If anybody knows what this story will lead to, well, it's obvious. Gaye Sr. left the House of God altogether in the mid-1950s after not being named chief of the apostle of the church. I don't know. I guess he was like, I'm hot shit. You got a name. I didn't get that, but like,
see, he wasn't there for church. He was there for the title.
He was there for the title. He wanted to lead. He wanted a crowd. He wanted power, I guess. And according to Marvin Jr., that's when my father lost his healing powers. So basically, Professor X was like, "Get the fuck out of my school! Like you ain't good enough. Like you ain't got powers.
I can't. You don't have power.
Yeah, like what's his name? The Beast. Go take him to the bus." Like, get him out of here. Marvin Jr. developed love for R&B and doo-wop and that would set a foundation for his career. In the late 1950s, Marvin Jr. joined a vocal group called the New Moon Glows. And it wasn't long before Marvin Jr. came to the attention of Detroit music impresario Barry Gordon Jr. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, Barry Gordy.
Well, I mean, I know why he's famous, but
he created Motown.
Well, here we go. And we're signed to Gordon, and he was signed to Gordon's legendary Motown Records. About Barry Gordy Jr. and Motown Records, for those that don't know, it was the most successful black-owned music company in the history of the United States, for one, and hosted the likes of the Supremes, the Jackson 5, and Stevie Wonder. In September 2016, President Barack Obama honored Gordy, among other cultural icons, with the National Medal of Arts. At the ceremony, President Obama spoke of Gordy's contribution to American culture, saying that he helped to, quote, to create a trailblazing new sound in American music. As a record producer and songwriter, he helped build Motown, launching the music careers of countless legendary artists. His unique sound helped shape our nation's history, end quote. Oh, Obama. Just kind, good words, well said, poetic.
We miss you.
Yeah, you know, grammatically
correct.
Grammar correct.
Take a deep breath.
Marvin Jr. was also a trailblazer on his own right, and showing his stripes as Motown's Renaissance man.
That's right, yeah.
Marvin Jr. went on to break into the top 40 for the first time on his own in 1962 with his solo hit Hitchhike. I have no idea about that song. I didn't even hear it. I didn't bother, but you know,
hey, it's okay. It was the first.
It was the first one. I'm sure it was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it had to be, right? Throughout the 1960s, Marvin Jr. would show his immense range, churning out solo dance hits and romantic duets with hitmakers like Diana Ross and Mary Wells. Can I get a
Do you know who
witness? No, I don't know who Mary Wells is. Of course, Diana Ross, but I don't know who Mary Wells is.
She was like the main female artist from Motown Records, like in the beginning when it first started. Everybody else was like in groups, and she was like a solo artist. Anyways, okay, finish.
Can I Get a Witness? And I Heard It Through the Grapevine were some of Marvin Jr.'s biggest hits of the period, and later achieving its place as Motown's best-selling single of the 1960s, the I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Now back to Gaye Sr. Gaye Sr., he was born the first, we just went wrong here, the first of 15 children.
Dang.
Oh, God. That means you were just neglected.
Yeah.
And
He
it
had
gets
to do
even
everything.
worse. It gets even worse. To George and Mamie Gaye on October 1st, 1914, on a farm along Catnip Hill Pike in Jessamine County, Kentucky, and was raised in Lexington, Kentucky. He had a troubled childhood where his physically abusive father often beat his mother and siblings. Well, you know what happens here. If you have an abusive father, it tends to mean that you will be an abusive father to your own children and to so on and so forth. If you don't deal with the trauma, it just gets passed on. That's just how it happens.
Break that curse.
Got to break that curse. If your father is abusive, please get therapy. Or, I mean, if anybody is abusive, like your parents are abusive, get fucking therapy.
Yeah.
It's not natural for your parents to treat you like shit. So get fucking therapy, because
Yeah. Get help.
that's how serial killers manifest. Like, they just have shitty ass upbringings. And like Ted Bundy, apparently, like his sister was actually his mom, and then his grandfather was actually his father. I don't know. It was crazy. It was like this crazy shit. And I'm like,
Ew.
see,
Yeah.
you should
strong
have
people
addressed this
out.
shit.
Yeah. Long time ago. Messing people up.
Fucking unibrow motherfucker.
This is why I say people need to take having kids way more seriously.
Seriously.
Not just this willy-nilly up. I'm pregnant. Like, anyways.
Let me just chew this ice real quick.
Chew.
In turn, Gaye Sr. was described as a strict and sometimes overbearing father to his 4 children. According to his children, Gaye Sr. would make them observe an extended Sabbath, which was every Saturday. Gaye Sr. was against the Christian tradition of attending church on Sunday, accusing them of going against observing God on the Lord's Day, which he contended was on Saturdays. According to Marvin Jr.'s sister, he was someone who, he being the father, was someone who never spared the rod. He was always very, very strict. This is in reference to the saying, spare the rod, spoil the child. So if you understand that, it's like catch, what's it called? Starve a fever, feed a cold. So here was Senior just, being very abusive. Gaye Sr. will also question his children on biblical passages, administering beatings if they answered wrong. Gaye Sr.'s children also suffered from bedwetting, which led to more beatings. I was a bedwetter, I admit. It also ended when I had this dream, like this final dream of like ongoing nightmare. Psychology. Anyway, that's for another time.
I was gonna say,
that's for another time. Gaye Sr. administered most of his harshest punishments on Marvin Jr. From the age of 7 well into his teenage years, Marvin's life consisted of brutal whipping, since Gaye Sr. would strike him for any shortcoming, including putting his hairbrush in the wrong place or coming home from school a minute late. Marvin Jr. would later say, living with father was like living with a king, an all-cruel, unchangeable, cruel, and all-powerful king. If it wasn't for mother, who was always there to console me and praise me for my singing, I think I would have been one of those child suicides you read in the papers. Alberta Gaye, wife of Gaye Sr., later stated that her husband hated Marvin, and as she told David Ritz, the author of Divided Soul, The Life of Marvin Gaye, she told him this, quote, "My husband never wanted Marvin and never liked him. He used to say he didn't think he was really his child. I told him that was nonsense. He knew Marvin was his, but for some reason, he didn't love Marvin. And what's worse, he didn't want me to love Marvin either. Marvin wasn't very old before he understood that." Following Marvin's musical career beginnings, he refused to be in the same room with his father for a number of years. Makes sense. I mean, once you're old and grown and you don't like your parents, you're out of there. You're
exactly.
Worse if they're abusive, you just want to get the hell out. As you should, and again, get therapy, though. There's all for people out there who are like, but it's difficult or it's expensive. There are ways, there are free offerings, there's a community. Just get somebody. I mean, at least talk to somebody.
I was gonna say, it doesn't. Yeah, you can.
It doesn't have to be a professional therapist.
You
That's
find
the
somebody to
best
talk
option.
to.
But
write that stuff down or something.
Sing about it.
Get it
This
out.
is not good enough for Marvin, I guess. This decision, amongst others, led to Marvin adding the E to his final name, which it was, as it was stated, was done to quiet any rumors of his sexual orientation and to emulate his idol Sam Cooke, which has a E at that end, and to add even more distance from his.
And do you know who Sam Cooke is,
Now I
Digo?
Now I do. As of a week.
Good.
He eventually purchased a house on the corner of 15th and Varnum in the black middle-class section of Washington, D.C. And he did move his parents out of the projects and into the new house, where his parents would reside until the early 1970s. His mom stopped working so that she can enjoy the security of owning a house, and the new residence was roomy and spacious with large outside porches, but Marvin Jr. didn't visit often due to the ongoing strained relationship with his father. Obvious. I have to go home to my parents every so often. I love it. It's fine. But I get it. I mean, even spending 3 months with my parents. I mean, you live with your mom.
No, and I'm like,
But you get it, right? You're like, even when things are good with your parents, it could be a strained relationship.
Yeah,
just because
but if
you're
it's already
older,
bad,
if it's already bad, fuck, no. Get out of there, get up.
Run, Forrest.
Run. In 1968, however, Martin Jr. extended an olive branch, giving his father a Cadillac as a present. But he said his father's response was, not affectionate. 4 years later, Marvin Jr. got together with his parents in Washington, D.C. Because the city honored him with Marvin Gaye Day and it was called Marvin Gaye Day, a day Marvin Jr. later said he actually felt his father was finally proud, but it's in quotes. So
like his version of
like
proud.
as proud as this father could be. By the early 1980s, Marvin Jr.'s marriage. Sorry, see, this is where I get all. No, that should be Gay Senior. There's too many gays in my life.
It's too much gay.
too much gay in my life. Gay Senior's marriage to Alberta had deteriorated, according to his wife in 1984. The couple hasn't shared the same bed in nearly 10 years and were now sleeping in separate rooms. But doesn't every older couple, I mean, like, my parents sleep in separate rooms. I know that so many older couples, they're just, this is the snoring, we've been here, done this, we're not having sex anymore, we're old, like, fuck it. I'm over here, you're over there. I want to watch the TV, I want to watch what I want to watch. You can watch whatever you want to watch. You leave the light on, like, everything. It's like, I got my own bathroom. I get it. So, but me personally, I'm going to cuddle with my partner until we're dead. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
I sleep in another room. Are you kidding? Even if we're old as fuck, I'm going to want to cuddle.
That's how I feel. I'm like, you're dealing with me, okay?
Yeah. If I snore.
Even now, when me and like, he gets hot, and I'm just like.
I do have that. But I'll be in the bed.
But that's it's just he takes the covers off and like, all right, I'm still under here, and like we make it work.
And then in the morning when it's chilly, you roll back over and roll back in. Exactly. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't need you to cuddle with me in the middle. Then like when I'm actually sleep, like, 'cause I don't know you're there. I'm asleep. Right. But yeah, like as I'm falling asleep, I need you. And then when you wake up in the morning, then we can let's make it happen again.
Exactly. On Christmas Day, 1983, Marvin Jr. gave his father an unregistered .38 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol to protect him from intruders and murderers after Marvin Jr., now an alcoholic and heavily addicted to cocaine. Pause. I'm not shaming him. In the 80s, even now, even much less so, but like, let's face it, in the 80s, if you're a man, a black man, and you like, I should get psychological help, you think that was like kosher with your friends? Like, could you, as a man, a black man in the 80s, be like, yeah, I'm seeing a psychiatrist, and expect your friends and family to be like, oh, cool, man. Congratulate. Oh, that's good. No, you'd be ridiculed. You'd be like, man, what? Like, you're a sissy.
And then you're
like,
church, it wouldn't even be that. It'd be like, no, you just need to like pray.
Yeah, or whatever. Like there was no support for that. So I don't blame him for going down the route of alcoholism and drug abuse, especially when you're rich and famous. I mean,
the access.
You got the money, you got the problems, and you don't have support. Drugs are available. Well, hey. But God, why do you have to choose cocaine? Anyway, now that he was addicted to drugs, he felt someone. I think this is the inference that because he was on the drugs, he was kind of wacky, and he felt that someone was seriously plotting to kill him or his family, and he kept several other guns in that same home. But he gave that one gun to his father. On March 31st, 1984, Gaye Sr. was angry because he could not locate a missing insurance policy document that he accused Alberta of misplacing that day. Marvin Jr. awoke from his sleep and commanded Gaye Sr. to leave his mom alone. However, neither father nor son had physically attacked each other that night. The next day, April Fool's Day, April 1st, 1984, Gaye Sr. again began arguing with Alberta over the missing insurance letter. After Gaye Sr. was heard yelling from downstairs, his son, dressed, I don't know why this was, but dressed in his maroon robe, I could just picture him like, Dad, shut up, shouted downstairs and said, if you want to talk to mom, do it in person. Basically, like, stop shouting, Marvin Jr. also threatened him not to enter his room, according to interviews from Alberta Gaye, the only other witness. When Gaye Sr. did enter the room anyway, his son, angry, despondent, and heavily intoxicated at midday, by the way, shoved his father into the hallway, then hit him. The fight continued in Marvin Jr.'s bedroom, though, and then Marvin Jr. reportedly struck his father and kicked him and punched him severely. This is pieced together from, because the only people who were there was mom, dad, son. Mm-hmm. There were no witnesses other than them. And, you can imagine, like, whatever dad said, you can only take that with a grain of salt. Whatever mom said, she's stuck in a rock and a hard place. Like, how is she, like, she says, like, the truth, maybe that makes her husband look terrible, but not enough of the truth has made her son look, I don't blame her if this was all, like, but a lot of what I'm telling you is from her. And a little bit of from dad, but I'll get into that later. Alberta separated them and convinced Gaye Sr. go back to your room. But minutes later, Gaye Sr. came back to the bedroom with a .38 pistol in hand and shot his son. The bullet penetrated Marvin Jr.'s vital organs, including his heart. Gaye Sr. then walked forward and shot him a second time in the shoulder at point-blank range. See, that's when, to me, I was like, no. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what was happening. First and foremost, this is your son. If I'm, like, I don't have a son, but I'm pretty sure if I hit my dad, he'd probably fight back. He'd probably do whatever, but he'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, stop. Like, talk about me. Look, don't stop. Like, he would never in a million years want to kill me. Yeah. He would call the police on me to restrain me, but he would never want to kill me.
And not only that, that's the thing. That was more than just, like, you shot at him, but then you shot him again, like, purposefully. Like, there was intent. That's what I'm trying to say. There was intent there. It wasn't just a matter of, like, oh, I'm in the moment and I'm upset. It was like...
Also, Gaye Sr. was obviously not a good dad.
Yeah, no.
There's also, like, if you are thinking... So I'm thinking of how I would... My dad, but my dad was a loving dad. Gaye Sr. was not. So whatever was happening there, this is after 40, 50 years of this shit. Like, so it's not like, this came to a head here. Gaye Sr. hid the gun in the bedroom in his bedroom under the pillow, went outside, sat at the front porch, and awaited his arrest, which came after police discovered Marvin Jr.'s body and confirmed that Gaye Sr. had shot his son. Marvin Gaye Jr.'s body was later taken to California Hospital Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead on arrival at 1:01 p.m., April Fool's Day, 1984. So this all took place in a matter of an hour. In an interview from Washington Post, Gaye Sr. recounts the story. He took me from the back, Gaye Sr. said, and he grabbed me and he slung me to the floor and he started beating me, kicking me. He kicked me everywhere he could kick me. Gaye Sr. said he did not resist, but told his son to stay away. His wife was pleading with his son to stop, he said. He knocked me into the bed, and when I fell, my hand happened to feel the little gun under the pillow. Marvin was very one who put that gun under my pillow 4 months ago. I thought the gun was loaded with blanks or BBs. I didn't know any bullets was in the gun. Gaye Sr. said he did not know his son was dead until a detective told him hours later. I just didn't believe it. I thought he was kidding me. I said, "Oh, God of mercy. Oh. It just shocked me. I went to pieces, just cold. I just sat there and I didn't know what to do. Just sitting, he was just sitting there like a mummy." So many things wrong with that.
Right.
So many things wrong with that. I mean, like,
I don't even know where to start.
I mean, just because, the fact that you shot him twice and you're like shocked that he's dead.
Yeah.
And point blank too.
Yeah.
Why did you shoot the ceiling? I mean, you came with a gun. I mean, that's enough, right? Just you have the gun because you felt, if that was the case, you felt so threatened by your son. You have the gun in hand. Stop, or else, that's step one if you really want to go down that path. Or call the police or whatever, but like to walk into the room and shoot him, Anyway.
And what would make you think that there's BBs or pellets in a gun?
God, that was like the worst.
No, but that's no. You know it was a real gun. It's in a
You
fake
pick
gun.
up that gun. That gun is heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
can
it's
tell
real.
it's loaded.
You
yeah.
cocked it because it was a 38 revolver.
Mhm.
You knew
Yeah.
when you saw that little chamber
Yeah.
rotate and all those
Exactly.
little, you know what this is.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. Police Lieutenant Robert Martin, commander of detectives handling the case, said physical evidence and statements from Gaye Sr.'s wife, Alberta, painted a different picture. There was no indication of bruises on his head, nothing like he'd been punched out or that kind of stuff. End of quote. The two were separated by the mother, Martin said, and Marvin Jr. was on the bed talking to her when the father appeared at the doorway with a gun in his hand and fired one round. He said the father fired a second round at point blank range. Gaye Sr. said he fired because he was trying to ward off his son's blows. Again, none of this is, it's like he was being a white police officer to his own fucking son.
I was so afraid.
I was so afraid he could have come at me.
Exactly.
I do know, quote, this is from the father. I know I did fire the gun. I was just trying to keep him back off of me. I just want the world to know it wasn't presumptuous on my part.
Yeah, as you shot him twice.
Twice, your son.
Mm-hmm.
During his first police interview, Gaye Sr. stated that he didn't mean to kill his son, but he had been scared that he would be hurt and only shot him in self-defense. When the police asked him if he loved his son, Gaye Sr. softly told them, "Let's say I didn't dislike him."
Wow.
The former minister was promptly charged with first-degree murder for his son's death. Gaye Sr. pleaded no contest to a charge of voluntary manslaughter, though. The fuck? Got reduced to voluntary manslaughter. On September 20th, 1984, during the sentencing hearing 2 months later on November 20th, Gaye Sr. was allowed to talk, and tearfully, Gaye Sr., at 70 years old, told the court, quote, "If I could bring him back, I would. I was afraid of him. I thought I was going to get hurt. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm really sorry for everything that happened. I loved him. I wish he could step through this door right now. I'm paying the price now." Every time I hear these, because I listen to so much like true crime podcasts, they're shit ass fuckers. Whenever it comes to like they're at the court and they're trying to say their piece, it's always about them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna suffer. I'm suffering. I'm paying the price. It's my, I. Instead of being like, I can't believe I did this. My son, he's dead. My poor son. No, that's a real confession.
Yeah,
Like, this is still him being like, I'm just gonna say this and maybe it's gonna grant some,
Yeah.
The,
I was gonna say you didn't actually.
The jury's gonna be like,
You didn't want your son to walk through the door. You didn't want to have to walk through the door to go to jail.
Exactly.
That's what that is. Because if you really loved him and felt that way, you wouldn't have shot him in the first place.
you would have treated him like your son back in the motherfucking day.
Exactly.
Following this, Gaye Sr. was given a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years probation.
Dang.
For the
it?
shoot. I know. So what the fuck? Again, so this my theme here is crimes of passion, and there is a little bit of leeway with, I think, jury and everything when you're not doing it. It would have been totally different if it was like pre-planned and went off and killed his son. But even if it sounds ridiculous that he was defending himself, it did happen all in the moment. Like, it was a short time. It was passionate.
Yeah.
Okay. During this time, Alberta Gaye had filed for divorce, and after 49 years of marriage, so she was like, oh, fuck, I'm done with this kid. Gaye Sr. eventually returned briefly to that home, but he had health issues that forced him to move to a nursing home, first in Inglewood, then in Culver City, California. Then he later died of pneumonia on October 10th, 1988, 9 days after his 84th birthday. Here are a few good things to end on when it comes to Marvin Gaye. and one really random fucking shit. Okay. Brah. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted him.
He didn't kill anyone.
He did not kill him. Inducted him in 1987. A year after his death, then mayor of D.C., Marion Mary, everybody know, ever heard of him, declared April 2nd as Marvin Gaye Jr. Memorial Scholarship Fund Day in the city. Since then, a nonprofit organization has helped organize annual Marvin Gaye Day celebrations in the city of Washington. A year after that, Gaye's mother founded a Marvin Gaye Jr. Memorial Foundation in dedication to her son and helped those suffering from drug abuse and alcoholism. However, she died a day before the memorial was set to open in 1987.
Oh, wow.
In 1990, Gaye received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 1996, Gaye posthumously, god damn it. This is what happens to podcasters like all the time. They're like trying to reading so and it's much. I didn't practice this shit. I just like reading it. Anyways, he received we know he's dead, okay? I don't even need to say this. 1996, he came back from the dead and received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame listed 3 Gaye recordings, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, What's Going On, and Sexual Healing among the list of 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. American music magazine Rolling Stone ranked Gaye number 18 on their list of 100 great artists. So I think that list that we were actually looking at the other day, the 100 greatest artists of all time. Maybe?
Oh, no, that was the singers.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. The 6th other list. Oh, okay. Here we 18th on the list of 100 greatest artists of all time, 6th on the list of 100 greatest singers of all time, and number 82 on the 100 greatest songwriters of all time. In 2006, a park that Gaye frequented as a teenager was called Watts Branch Park was renamed Marvin Gaye Park in Washington, D.C. 3 years later, so 2009, 5200 block of Foot Street in Northeast in Deanwood, Washington, D.C. was renamed Marvin Gaye Way. August 2014, Gaye was indicted
again.
Jesus,
he's already been dead for like 2 decades, but no, he was indicted again.
He'd be inducted into the official Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame. And here's the random shit. Are you ready? I don't know what to say to this other than
it's random. Slow clap.
In July 2018, a bill by a Californian politician, Karen Bass, was introduced to rename a post office in South Los Angeles after Gaye, and was signed into law by none other than
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, because this is a federal post office. So the only one who's signing anything at this level is none other than President Donald J. Trump. What the fuck? Like, what? I was reading this. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Like,
yeah.
This is what it's like. This is what it feels like. It feels like you just dumped over a gallon of orange juice all over the kitchen floor. But then you start cleaning like the kitchen counter like a little bit, you know? Like you maybe throw out that old lettuce in the but you ignore the spill. But you do that one good thing that you should do, but you don't even clean up anything. You picked up the jug.
You didn't even it wasn't even like you didn't clean up anything. The jug was turned over and you picked it up and you sat it up.
You just sat it upright. Like you didn't even throw it away. You just sat it upright.
Nothing else can spill out.
Right.
Yeah. That's all that was. That wasn't even. Nope. You haven't cleaned up anything. You haven't touched. You haven't thrown anything away. Nope. You just
made no sense to me.
Sat it up.
What was that thing that I said I was going to talk about later? So for all you ex-bedwetters out there, or maybe you're continuously bedwetting, I have a
would
strong
suck.
opinion
You would.
that bedwetting. Well, honestly, bedwetting can actually just be a straight up mechanical problem that you have yet to develop to overcome. Because, okay, if you're a guy, I don't know about women, I got nothing. But for guys, you wake up and you got a huge ass hard on. That's basically the
so not
bottle cap
expecting that.
for you, when you have the hard on, you have to pee, and so
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
your
yeah.
body eventually comes up with the mechanics to stop you bedwetting. Basically, instead of peeing, it just gives you a hard on, so it slaps closed.
Wait, is this like scientific? Is that real?
Yeah,
Is that
like straight
what
up?
happens?
Yes.
Oh.
So when you're hard, you got the urethra, and that it's
and
like
it
the
stops
tube.
the
Exactly.
the
And so
pee flow.
that's
So
what it
that's-
is.
yeah.
That's all it is. That's what you develop that. But I guess it's so. If for me, where I have a huge ass bladder, so I guess I've always had a huge ass bladder, even as a little kid. So I guess would go to bed without going to the bathroom, and then had somewhere in the night, and my body wasn't ready to give me hard-ons yet, and I would be
Gotcha.
peeing. So, but that's the mechanical side of it to view. But me, I think it was that and psychological, because I had these intense reoccurring nightmares, and what will happen was I would be anywhere, say like right here, right now, and in the dream, and I'd drop a fork and I pick up and you'd be gone. And then I look around in the restaurant, everybody's gone. And then I knew they were coming. They being these men, sometimes one, sometimes two, dressed all in white, like spandex, like white, and just around their face would be open and their face would be there, but their face was something hideous, horrific. And all they'd want to do is grab me, because I would be like, this is what I knew to do. Before, it's like when everyone's gone, I knew I had to throw myself to the floor and wiggle so that my real self wake up.
Oh,
like, I knew that.
wow, really?
And sometimes it wouldn't work because I was too deep. And in come the men, and all they would want to do is flip me over and have me see their face, and I would wake up screaming. And sometimes bedwet because of the terror, or whatever. So
How long did that go?
Like years, fucking years. Like maybe I was like 6, 7, 8 before it ended. Probably 8 upper. Because it was. But I guess the psychological thing was maybe my body was feeling that I had to go pee, and in comes this dream, and the men were actually me needing to pee. Maybe that's what it is, because this went on forever. It would always be one thing similar to this. I would be hanging out with my friends, they'd be gone, I knew they were coming, throwing myself to the ground, like trying to wake up. Anyway, the last one, I was on the highway, and I was driving a red Corvette. And I was like in traffic. And
As a kid, you're
it's a fucking dream. I can do what I want.
I know, but I think that's awesome that as a kid you're like, oh no, I'm driving.
I know.
I think even dream kid me would have been like, man, I can't drive.
I can't drive. I don't have a license.
Exactly. How do we do this?
As you can imagine, all the cars in the road are gone. I look in my rear view. There's a tractor trailer, and I almost caught a glimpse of the guy, the guy in white driving. I almost saw the face. I was like, oh, and then I knew they're chasing me. I had to get off the road. I got off the freeway and ended up at my aunt's house. Barge into my aunt's house. They're having breakfast. I'm like, oh my God, thank God you guys are here. I turn around to grab the phone. The phone's dead. Turn around. They're gone.
They're gone.
And I'm like, oh no. And I look over the front door, and, I see light from outside, and then the shadows of them coming up to the door. And something happened in that moment. I was fed up, tired, angry. This is stupid shit. I don't want to throw myself on the floor. This is dumb. I go over to the front door, angrily open it. It's just a beautiful fucking day. And that was the last time I had that dream. And the last time I never bedwetted after that. So that's why there's a part of me that would like say, hey, bedwetting is psychological as well because I have this that happened to me. So if you have kids and they're bedwetting, first and foremost, please, and my parents didn't do this. I mean, they understand. Everybody should understand that your kid's still learning. You know, this is just the thing. But don't. First and foremost, please don't shame your child. That's not going to help. Like, if you want them to stop bedwetting, shaming is definitely not going to help. And figure out maybe like it's just mechanical and there's actually nothing going on. But, you know, for me it was a dream, but for them it could be like the bully at school or something, you know, and to unravel and to click, it might actually help.
That's crazy that I just think it's crazy that you had such vivid. Oh yeah, and you remember.
I remember these guys.
Yeah, like that.
All in white.
When you're so young.
The terror.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I remember. Like, I know there were a couple times like I did wet the bed.
I gotta pee.
Well.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Thank you.
Da-na-na-na-na-na,
and the lake that you're used to. Thanks, I'm glad.
Don't go breaking waterfalls. Unless you're Thanos from the Marvel series.
And then he like disintegrates waterfalls. So he just
snaps.
Break them.
So, fight for what you love. Especially if it's your mattress.
Because y'all gotta have a good relationship, okay? That's
you gotta get plastic on that mattress if you know.
Day by day.
Bless my parents. But fight for what you love, except for if it's murdering your child. Don't. Why would you even fight for that?
Exactly. Fight for what you love. Love your child.
Love your child.
And don't go chasing waterfalls.
Fight for what you love, but not waterfalls. If you love waterfalls, as you said, stand by it. Stand at the bottom of it. Take pictures. Observe.
Just watch.
Don't get in the river water. But in all seriousness,
fight for what you love.
That includes yourself.
Thanks for listening to the Ants, Humans, Stars podcast with Caleb and Digo. Stay connected and get updates about new episodes by visiting our website, antshumanstars.com, and by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a positive rating and review, and share about us with your community on social media. Thanks, y'all. We really appreciate it.